Well, I'd just like to welcome everyone who is currently watching this back to What Remains of Edith Finch. Thanks to everyone who watched the first episode. If you haven't, guess what? This is part 2. There is a part 1 you can go and check out, but I'll leave that up to you right now. This seems very tempting. Let's go ahead and do this. Ooh. Open the window to the wall. Hey, we're back outside. And the game seems to be running better today. I like.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
Okay.
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Interesting. So, quick question. Would anyone out there watching this ever live far off in the wilderness like this? I for one, I like the quiet life, but this is a bit too isolated for my taste, if you catch my drift. So, I can only assume that we would have needed to go through Molly's room to get over here. Lift that window open, and yeah, let's embrace it.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Wow, Grandma Edie had a thing for birds, eh? That's cool, I guess. Let's do some exploring, shall we?
We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
So for some reason or another, Mother seemed to be quite the dominating force in this household.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
Huh. This seems like a pretty cool granny. Oh, I'm sorry, but I think no matter how far the ages progress, grandparents will somehow find a way to still have a box TV. Oh, what's all this about?
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
That's bleak. What's all this about?
Her room was like a museum.
Oh, we actually have one of these in the cupboard.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. And misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse. His wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan.
Okay. So, just quickly, I did have one of these lying in my cupboard, and it's actually my great-grandmother's. And it's basically got all these pictures of when they as a family went to Disneyland back in the 1950s. So these are pretty cool. This is basically, an olden day version of hitting the slideshow function on your Windows PC. True story.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Buddy, why'd you take your whole house with you? What's up with that?
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Okay, cool. So, that's a bit of story of how Edie came to be here in the first place. Good old grandmother Edie.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Oh, bleak. Okay, cool. So it's not... Okay, for a moment I thought that we'd have to go through a whole sort of in-depth backstory like we did with Molly for all the characters, but it's cool to see that that's not always quite the case. I said maybe a very long game, but I've heard it's not. Sven Edie. Who's Sven? Oh, there's so much to explore. So many books. I just still love how cozy this game is. I know I'm nagging and beating a dead horse at this point, but it's just so cool.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
That's actually pretty cool. You know, I think Edie's the right sort of grandmother. If you're gonna have a grandmother, have an Edie grandmother. If your grandmother's not like Edie, tell her to be more like Edie.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
I can quite imagine that.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
That's awesome. Whoa. I heard a thing. You see, I'm playing with one headphone, so sorry if I do miss sounds sometimes. I need to be aware of my surroundings, you know, because A, I don't like to be easily startled, and B, I am sometimes doing other things, so that's a bit breaking the fourth wall, but there you have it.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Yeah, your mother seems like quite the stern sort. Whoa, that is a lot of pig. This is probably the most awesome bathroom I think I've ever seen.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Oh, that's awesome. Jeez, and my frame rate is not...
Big trace.
Yeah, my frame rate is not liking the shag carpet. Ooh, another book. There's a secret in this bathroom. By the way, if anyone watching this is going to stop at any point to play the game for themselves, I do not blame you.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Eh? Seriously, I would not hate anyone for you know, checking this out for themselves. It's really, really good. Who are you, buddy? Zoom with the eyes. Oh yeah, that's. I swear, anyone who takes selfies like that in the mirror, you were a teenager / young adult in the early 2000s, because they still take photos like that today.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Oh, that's a pretty cool camera. Has anyone else noticed how Polaroid cameras are coming back in fashion? Again with Milton. Oh, what's all this then? Yeah, screw your chair, bruh. Ooh. How's this room? We've got a space enthusiast, I see. Where do we begin? Oh, that's interesting.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Oh, how cool is this room? I want to be a child again so I can have a room like this. I'm going to follow that text. This is too cool.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Oh yeah, we're going for it, guys. We're going to space.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
Well, that's bleak.
At Barbara's funeral, he swore he'd never be afraid again. And he
Oh
wasn't.
no, am I dooming someone?
I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible.
My legs are actually swinging with him
Maybe
right
if
now
I
under my
hadn't
desk.
said that. see if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go.
The day he made up
shit.
his mind to fly. And he did.
Oh, that's all you're gonna give me?
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Tell me I wasn't the only one who saw something in the distance. I wanted to go exploring that. I wanted to fly. I wanted to soar. This game is making me exceptionally childlike. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Fort Sam.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Oh, what's all this? Oh, that's cool. The text will guide you sometimes. Yeah, I didn't want to talk too much there because that was a very story-heavy moment, and I was really getting into it. Oh, come on, Chris. Do the thing. It's not a hard game. What? Hey. This is by far the coolest house ever. What? Ooh. Well, that's just a touch creepy.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Oh wow, I think we walked past her just now. Okay, that's cool. So you can sort of, nice, we've opened a nice little entry point for us. That's interesting. And that's less interesting. It's a little bit creepy. Ooh.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
This is creepy. Cool guitar though. Cool guitar. Yeah, that's... I've always thought guitars with bridges like that are quite interesting, but yeah, I'm rambling now. Because guitars are interesting to me, and this is just a touch on the creepy side. Ew.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
After what? Happy birthday, Barbara. Oh my word, how old is this cake, people? Jeez, I was so ready for that thing to just be blocking the doorway. I was about to flip my shit. Oh, she was pretty pretty, hey? Good old Barbara.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara
Oh no.
Finch.
Game, don't you do this to me.
As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
Oh,
You're
game,
right.
don't you dare do this to
Also,
me.
I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned.
Oh
So
no, screw you,
Barbara
game.
went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Hey.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Oh no. Gabe, don't you dare.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
I'm gonna use this crutch as a weapon. Oh yes I can. Damn straight. Bring it. I'm gonna half laugh it.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Hey. Who's there? I have a crutch and I will bring it.
Rattled and grew still.
Oh dear! Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Oh dear. I don't think this is a trick. Oh dear. This is an interesting art style as well. This is one of the very few games as well where I'm ignoring that. Where like recycled environments are like working to the advantage of everything. Walter!
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished.
Uh-oh.
His bedside radio
Wherefore art
was
thou?
still on.
Wherefore
Orcas
art thou,
Island
Walter?
police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Oh shit.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
To the window, to the wall. You go, Bob.
She played her part beautifully.
Oh yeah, I've been here before.
She
I know the
thought
drill.
about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it.
Oh, bugger it all. So where do I go?
Molly's door hadn't been opened
Hit him again. Oh, he fall.
He wasn't
Yeah.
but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Let's go gonk him again. He needs to be gonked once more, just for good measure. I actually think it's her father. Oh.
Had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Uh-oh. Ding dong, bitches. Who's there?
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent.
Hey.
She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
What?
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
What?
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
There's nothing happy about that. There's nothing happy about this game, damn it. This whole game has been a fairly unpleasant experience. Please be nothing creepy behind me. Thank you. Oh, well, you know what? That's what I'm gonna call this one, eh? I think that's been an interesting enough segment. Yeah, this game keeps on pulling weird stops, you know, it starts off happy, starts off comical, and then it just sort of punches you in the gut, and what the hell is bouncing in that box? Oh, it's where you emerge from. And I hope there's nothing else there. I pray to God, but you know what? That's an adventure for next time, so thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this weird and interesting game, and I will see all of you next time in the next part of What Remains of Edith Finch. Take care.